My dreams are becoming more authentic to who I am,
Yeah.
rather than being rip-offs of my heroes, which for like my whole first 22, 23 years of my life, that's exactly what it was. Now it's like someone wants to talk for 20 minutes, I'll post it raw. I don't cut dreams anymore. It was dangerous, man. Just, the pressure I put on myself. And then the perfectionism. I would spend like an hour on a thumbnail.
Can you remember the last dream you had?
Oh, I had a scary dream last night, actually. I woke up real scared. It's going to sound really dark. It was like a really dark, horror type dream.
This episode of A Beacon of Hope is proudly brought to you by Campfire Studios. To find out more, visit campfirestudios.co.nz. 2, 3, 4. A Beacon of Hope is a weekly podcast that shines a light on the human spirit and explores the power of hope in our lives. Join me, Will Fleming, as I talk to people from all walks of life about where they find hope and how they use it to navigate life's challenges.
Be good, be safe, and be happy.
Fraser Grut was on a mission to film 10,000 dreams every day. Basically 30 years of his life, interviewing people about their dream each day. Spoiler alert, this was a giant mountain to climb, and one that Fraser ultimately had to realise was too big to summit, at least on his first try. And that's where we pick up our conversation today. Dreaming big, those dreams turning into nightmares, and the plan forward when you wake up in a cold sweat, wondering why you committed to that massive dream in the first place. Fraser, man.
What's up, Will?
What's your dream, bro?
I don't get asked that a lot, so I always get stumped when I get asked.
Because everyone's crapping themselves about you asking them what their dream is.
It's just changed so much, bro.
Yes.
If you had asked me 5 years ago, my dream was just to be the next Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
If you ask me now, I want to help the world dream. I'm becoming more of my dreams are becoming more authentic to who I am, rather than being rip-offs of my heroes, which for like my whole first 22, 23 years of my life, that's exactly what it was.
But does it go any other way? Like, is there something about we have to mimic, before we can...
Yeah.
Like a shell is formed, and then, we're going to obviously go straight into it, but for those who know you, they'll know the full story. For those who don't, how do we tell that story, especially as it pertains to dreaming?
Ooh.
You set out on this mission, eh?
Yes.
That wasn't going to end until you were 50.
50.
And you are how old now?
I just turned 29.
And so you started when you were 20 what?
I was 22. It was 2016, December the 8th, 2016.
Dude, that's like another generation ago.
I know.
And so the goal was what? Every day?
Every day for 1 year. That was the goal at first, because it was just a bet with a mate.
Yeah.
There was no deep mission, deep dream behind it. It was just a piss take. And it wasn't until 200 something days in that I realized, oh no. I think this is something I'm meant to do.
Wow.
And then I only picked 10,000 because it sounded cool. 10,000 dreams. I assumed it was 4 years or something. And it turned out to be 27 years. And I was like, well, I've changed my Instagram handle now, so I'm in now. So I did every single day for 5 years before I just burnt out.
And that's true? Literally just...
Oh, yeah.
Because that's that Casey Neistat thing.
Yes.
Where you must have been everywhere looking for a dreamer on every corner. And how is it going to help me share that dream? Yeah, that is really interesting.
It was all my interactions with people were filming their dreams or talking about
But were
dreams.
you rating them on who do we think's going to put a dream out there that's going to get some attention?
Oh, yeah, definitely went through periods of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think it was in end of 2019, mid-2019 or something, and I went for a period where really it was if you're not a celebrity, I wasn't going to I was on such a just have to film celebrity dreams.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I became very aware of that very fast. I think someone called me out on that in my life.
Who?
I think a close mate. They're just like, oh, so you're just doing celebrities now. There was like a month straight of celebrities or something. I've gone through many periods of
growth.
Oh my goodness.
No, because like I'm sitting here as a pal, like I admire, like we don't just like Rocky because it finally worked out. We like it because like the dude had a dream.
Yeah, man.
And there's a million Rockies where it didn't work out. In fact, guy producing today, I was laughing because The Flash just came out and we were having a coffee about the DC universe, right? And we're like, I said, bro, we live in the universe where it sucks. But there's other universes where it's awesome, but we're in the stink one.
Yeah.
And, oh, well, that's our special thing. And I thought, like, it doesn't really relate to you, but I'm like, bro, you're trying something really hard. And that's a gift. You know, that's a gift that you're allowed to go after, because we do come from a country and a culture and families that love us and tried effing hard to provide that.
Yeah.
And that's not the normal. Hey, most of our ancestors, regardless of cultures, probably live like 99% of the world does, which is like life's tough and you can't project forward.
Yeah.
But you had that and you're going for that. And so I'm sitting here championing you.
Thank you.
Because it doesn't matter if you got it or not. You unlock the next person for wanting to try that.
Yeah.
And I was just really fascinated because, like we said before we started recording, you stopped. And I was straight on the emails, just like you are to your guests. You know, you want to, you know.
Yeah, man.
And I was like, "What's the deal?" And you're like, "Hey, man, give me some time." What happened, bro? Like, were you wrestling with stopping and carrying on, and you had COVID and with the world going on? What?
Well, I was adamant I would never stop.
Yeah.
I was so like stubborn about that. So the fact I stopped blows my mind still, because I was so deep in it. And it was probably like, so I stopped December on the 5th year of doing it. And it was probably like September or something that I was starting to get a feeling, oh, is this something I really want to be doing every day for another 22 years? And then kind of talking about it with my family and a couple of close mates, but not really taking it seriously. Like kind of like, oh, I may stop. And I kind of got to, and I was, at this point, I was so burnt out on it. I was probably so deep into burnout that I didn't even realize I had it. Because I had no option. I just had to keep going, you know. I created this whole thing around me that was my fault. I built a prison. No one else was telling me to do this every day. This was a self-inflicted prison. And I got a point where it just, every time I was going to go film a dream, I said anxiety.
Really?
Like, oh my God. It was like absolute burden to go and film a dream.
Were you able to hide that from the people you were filming?
Yeah.
Right,
Big
so they wouldn't know.
No
they
one would have
thought they
had
were amplifying you.
Oh man, there's been so many times I've gotten really good at putting on the dream guy kind of persona. Like, we can maybe go into this later, but you know, I went through a divorce years ago, and the day that my marriage ended, I was filming Dream, and that person will have no idea, and they still won't have any idea that I was at rock bottom that day. I kind of learned how to hide stuff, but I got to a point where I was like, okay, I think I need to really think about, is this who I want to be? This has become my identity. Is this who I really want to be? And then I woke up one day and my brother messaged me saying, I had a real close mate called Jake, who was quite well known, young entrepreneur. And he's like, have you heard about Jake? I went, nah. And he's like, look on NZ Herald. And I went on NZ Herald, and he took his life. And it was a very public thing. He was one of my closest mates. He was someone I looked up to and was like, yeah, you're a hustler. I want to be more like you. And it was just in that moment, I was like, okay, no, I'm stopping, because I'm not going in that direction. I need to be aware that I'm heading down right now, and I need to go. I don't know. Wait, what am I trying to say here? It just hit me, man.
Yeah, bro.
I'm like, there's things more important than
100%.
being the guy that did 10,000 days in a row.
Yeah.
And I probably bought into the whole, like, you're crazy. Dude, you're so crazy. You're doing this every day. I bought into that, man. It became more about me than it became about dreams, you know?
Dude.
And that and hearing that about my mate Jake just rocked me. And then the next day I basically quit. And I was like, nah, there's more things more important in life.
What was his name? Jake
Miller.
Yeah. I had emailed him to be a guest, because I've had podcasting for 10 years or so.
Oh, I bet he would have been a great guest.
Just like you're always looking for somebody. I guess the thing that by default in the podcast is if it was expected daily, like a vlog, I think it would have burnt out.
Yeah.
But because you got that week buffer.
Yeah.
I'm feeling somewhat the pressure at the moment. I'm trying to have a podcast every week. But it's okay because I like the fact that I network with you and that we can make this work and that I actually still really enjoy podcasting. But yeah, that daily, there's something about the daily and life's hard enough anyway. And I think Jake would have been someone I would have loved to chat to.
Oh, he would have been great, man.
And also like just how kind of, I think what it came down to is everyone agreed that this traditional institution, media, were really cruel.
Oh yeah.
And I think, I think shame on that institute. I don't call them out because I worked for part of it, the TV part.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, you got more than, your job is more than just clicks. You have to guide people through. You have to somewhat be a parent, and we charged you with that. You took that power, and you birthed these kind of things like podcasts. Like last week we had Luke McAllister in here, and he was talking about like just how cruel it was. Yeah, this is my words, but he was 22. And he's only 40 something now, and still pretty guarded.
Yeah,
but that was their fault again, and like all big institutes, they can wiggle out of it and cancel others, but we're still here. So, yeah, I think what a harsh lesson, right? What a harsh lesson for you to wake you up.
Yeah.
What did you foresee coming, man? Like if you had just kind of kept believing in that, in that. Well, what do you call it? The cloak, eh? Because I don't want to call it a lie.
The myth. every day, like, wow, what an achievement.
Because on some level it is cool. It's trying something really hard, but I guess what you're saying is like, it maybe was consuming your.
Yeah, man, and I don't think I would have gone, in that I don't know if that would have been my story if I'd kept going. But I probably just would have burnt bridges, relationships in my life. I would have imagined being a father doing it every day. The day your first child's born, it would have just caused disruption in my life. It already had caused so much disruption in my life. Like at that point, I'm 6 months married now, but at that point, I'd only been dating my now wife for like 5 months. And even in that 5 months, there was disruption. So it only would have got worse as we got married, had kids, went on in life. And I don't know if it would have been worth it. I would have got to, I would have turned 50, had done 10,000 days in a row, and would have been like, cool, man, good job. And I would have been like, wow, I thought there'd be a parade. I thought there'd be this. And it probably wouldn't have at all ever been what I imagined in my head. And it would have been so, I probably would. It would probably have been a dark day.
Yeah.
Because I would have built it up over 27 years in my head,
Yeah.
That's whereas wild. Now it's just a life mission of 10,000 before I die.
Yeah.
If I get there, I get there. If I don't, I don't. It's more about the journey of getting to 10,000 now. Whereas before it became, I got to get to 10,000 and I would just tick it every day. I'm ticking a box. I wasn't really engaged with people. I wasn't present. I was just, hey, film your dream. All right, man, thank you, bye. Tick, done. Yeah. Let me quickly edit this, post it so I can get on with my life.
Wow.
Rather than, actually, this is a big, people sharing their dreams I've come to learn, like, that's a big moment for people. Not because of what I'm doing, because just sharing your dreams in general is a big thing for people. People don't do that. And if I'm just spending 10 minutes with them and going, hey, cool, but they might feel a bit like, a bit used, a bit like,
right.
Whereas if they're like, hey, I want to talk more about it. I now am more open to, hey, if we want to spend an hour together afterwards just talking about it, and maybe I can encourage you in some areas.
Absolutely.
That's so much richer, man, than just ticking a box.
Absolutely. I mean, what's your dream podcast? Hey, we could do that here. Would you consider that ticking one of the boxes if it's an hour chat versus a 3-minute chat?
I think I'm just so open now to anything, bro. Like,
but I kind of registered you as open when I met you first.
Yeah.
But would you say, you were on that mission and that you were looking to just stick to the brand? Because when was that? 2018?
Probably 2018 or something. Yeah, like when I met people, I'd be like, all right, you go about 20, 30 seconds. Wow. And then I would edit their dreams and cut them up to make it 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah, but you were also thinking to yourself, I've got to get this I've got to be, the production of it has to be possible for a day.
Yeah.
You got to do the subtitles.
Oh, yeah.
There was no AI to write you.
No, bro. Now I've just discovered there are subtitles on Premiere Pro Automatic, which has changed my life because I did not do that at all until, yeah, man. But now it's like someone wants to talk for 20 minutes, I'll post it raw. I don't cut dreams anymore. It's something my wife really talked to me about, that kind of, who am I to cut someone's dream up because it might be more snappier on social media? I might be cutting the most important parts for them just to make it a 20-second. So now it's just like, if they want to talk for 5 seconds, amazing. Half an hour, I'll post it as a half-an-hour conversation.
Wow.
I'm just way more like open now.
Yeah.
It's just so much funner now, bro, because I'm present.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the whole thing way more. It's such a gift to hear dreams. And that people trust me with their dreams is such a gift. Yeah.
I think I asked you the first time we chatted, what do you actually dream about when you're sleeping? Are you a good sleeper?
Yeah.
What do you have? Do you have are you a lucid dreamer? Can you remember the last dream you had?
Oh, I had a scary dream last night, actually. I woke up real scared. This is going to sound really dark. It was like a really dark horror type dream. I don't know why. I don't ever watch horror. I do not do horror. But you know Circus in Mount Eden, the cafe? I dreamed that someone was getting a photo outside of Circus, and then when they looked at the photo, so dark. I can't believe you asked this. When they looked at the photo, there were hundreds of hanging bodies behind the person as clowns. And I woke up really scared.
Yeah. Damn.
But I don't usually dream that bad.
No.
But you asked the last dream. That's the last dream I remember was last night.
And what do you put that down to? Just humans are out of it and we have this part of us which is...
I don't know, man. That was... I have no idea. But usually I do dream vividly. I used to have a dream journal. But I found waking up and writing down my dreams made me wake up all the time because it became a habit of waking up when I had a dream and writing it down. And then I could never sleep properly because I'd be waking up to write the dream down.
Interesting. Do you remember the first kind of thoughts of, I'm going to go after this daily dream mission? Why dreaming? What was it about that kind of made you think, damn? Maybe before you answer, in my podcasting journey, where I've arrived is hope and optimism.
Yeah.
Because that was revealed to me when my mum passed. And I was like, man, when you take it all away, well, not all, because we live very lucky lives.
Yeah.
But, people would say, how are you? And I would say, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Of course, I miss her, but I was lucky because she didn't leave too much baggage for me in terms of our relationship. We're still pals, and I recognized the hope she gave me in life. You can do it. I think you can do it. Give it a go. They don't know you. Like a mother does. And so it's helped me refine, but a little bit like your Jake story, has to come with something. That's the brutality of this mission of life, right?
Yeah.
Where the good things and the bad things have to find their way to fit together. I'm just interested, going back to that. Why dreaming? What was it about that you thought, man, this is interesting to chase?
Well, initially because I was meeting with my mate Logan, and he was about to go to America for 6 months, and I was trying to encourage him to do something every day in America. And the initial idea was, why don't you ask someone every day what their favorite ice cream flavor is? And we sat on that for about 5 seconds before we realized that was so lame. Imagine doing that for 10,000 days. And then we were like, ask someone what their why is. But Rebel Sport had just released their What's Your Why series. So we're like, probably copyrighted. And then became asking someone what their dream was. I don't know why. And then in that moment, I was just like, actually, nah, man, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm a dreamer. I'm very lucky I had the parents I have. I think I've appreciated that as I've gotten older, that's not too common. Not everyone has a parent or a set of parents that, like, my parents would have told me off if I chased plan B. If I'd pursued a safe job, they probably would have told me. It was like total opposite to what you expect. I don't know why. It's just dreams are just magic. I don't. It's my passion, man. I always thought film was my passion, but dreams is my passion, and I think film is the way I show that. I don't know. I just something about it, like,
just captured you.
Just captured me, man.
I think it's cool though. Like, and I also think that sometimes these big missions that we're all on in life maybe come from just yarns with people and little silly things. And you hope that doesn't scale all the way up to, like, if you're leading a country, you're like, anyone got any good ideas? Oh yeah, we should. And everyone's like, hey, that's a great idea. But I suspect that is how things happen.
But bro, it's just so interesting. It was such, it was just not a significant moment getting that coffee with a mate. It was just, let's go get a coffee. I've done that hundreds of times. There was nothing, I didn't go in going, ooh, today something's going to happen, you know. I totally had a plan in my life before that coffee.
What was that plan?
To be the next Peter Jackson.
Gotcha.
And that coffee totally derailed my life this way.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. That's why we made a bet, but neither me or him remember the bet. Or I didn't write down, journal it. I didn't record anything because it wasn't a moment. It just was like, I just got a coffee with Logan. Now in hindsight, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have recorded that. I should have written down, like, we should have made a bigger bet. We should have.
But the reality was it was just a moment.
And it just like, for everyone, the inspiration, it could just be, you know, getting coffee with a mate that could help you realize what your purpose is, what your calling is, man.
Well, and isn't the weird thing that it could have happened, you know, let's say if you get married, that's just something we did on that day, but that could have been, you know, I often say to a guy, like, it might be the best it ever is now with our current clients and our work, and who knows? You hope it to be better. You hope it keeps scaling up, but we could be in the perfect moment and the rest of it is just hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to consolidate that because we do want to give ourselves as people, you know, the movie ending. But I'm just sensing in your story too, like, no, it's not about projecting too far forward. That's a danger, as it is projecting all the way back.
Yeah,
You've
man.
got to stay in this workable zone, eh?
Well, dreams, something I've learned is dreams can become idols, man. Sometimes dreams can be dangerous. And I think I've fallen into that at many points in my life where you're holding on to that dream you had at 16 and you're so like, no, I'm going to be the. And actually, maybe you've grown, maybe you've changed, maybe your passions have changed, you know? That's something I never would have said 5 years ago because I was scared that if I'd said something like that, it was me almost saying that my dream wasn't going to happen or something. But I'm like, if you had asked 19-year-old Fraser if in 10 years I'd be filming people's dreams and I wouldn't have an Oscar or two, I would have been like, man, I failed. I failed big time. Whereas now I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful. Like this, I wake up in the morning and I want to film dreams. I want to email people. I want to edit dreams more than I want to write a script, more than I want to. And that's kind of freaking me out because I'm like, oh my goodness, my passion's actually changing to the point where I almost don't have the desire to make films anymore. That freaks me out. And I'm even scared to say that out loud. But I can't help it. I'm just so passionate about dreams. I could talk to anyone about dreams without a camera. It's my go-to party conversation. If we're at a dinner table with a group, I just want to talk about people's dreams.
That's awesome.
I love it so much, man.
I don't know if I said this to you when we caught up last time, but an impactful moment has always been for me when I saw this clip, and I can't even reference where it was from, but essentially it was like these people visiting India, and they were asking this young girl, you know, what do you dream about? What do you want to do in the future? And the concept she didn't understand. You know, she says, I don't dream. I look after my brother. I try and do what I can. And I think that was why when your name first popped up on my radar all those years ago, I was like, oh, wow, someone focusing on dreams. You know, I wonder if any of your body of work, even though it's come at a, you know, sacrifice to some of your life, you know, there must be moments where you've traded in things to make the dream happen in terms of recording someone's, you know, to be so focused on that area. You know, what else did you have to kind of give up?
Man.
And I mean, I'm really keen for you to share that because it might help give people scope in their own lives. You know, we definitely, you know, just like the algorithm makes us more predictable, I feel like we are all pushed to like pick your thing and go do that and do it forever. And it's like, well, maybe a few things.
Yeah.
But I wonder if any of your work has ever reached people who find it hard to dream, because it'd be bloody good for them, you know, to hear people articulate what even a dream is. And I mean, you might not ever get that data back.
Yeah, that's the thing, man.
But that's the good thing about putting it out.
Yeah, I've been very lucky that I have heard that from many people of how they've felt encouraged by the project. But there probably is a huge degree of stuff I'll never know, a ripple effect I'll never know, you know. There could be a kid I filmed 4 years ago who I never meet again, but because I filmed his dream, yes, he went on and pursued that dream. And I never know, I won't know, man. Yeah, but just trying to articulate this.
This is too long, hey? We've got to have 20 seconds to articulate ourselves. Nah, man.
Reword the question, man.
No.
I mean,
I guess I was asking a couple things.
Yeah.
One of it was, what things did you have to deflect to make that focus come true? You know, of capturing a dream a day. There must have been things that, because I don't see it as an all bad thing. I think it's a very worthy cause to go out there and aim for something so high that you will never know the impact from. I think there are people who see it from all around the world, and whoever it is, whether it's, you know, a really famous guest or not, who will spark that bit of hope in them. That's why I think it's good. But for you have to see the complete picture of you.
Yeah.
And I guess for those willing to take that journey, maybe if someone said, hey, you know that this is going to break down, you know that this will probably hurt you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, man, like in terms of the whole everyday grind of it, I mean, camera came wherever I went. My laptop came wherever I went. Many dinners, I'm on my laptop editing as everyone's chatting, and I'm kind of chatting too, but I'm editing no matter where I am, man. Many days where I was sick or just feeling crap or going, I do not want to do this, and leaving it till about 8 p.m. before I realize I have to do this, and then going off to the street and finding someone and begging someone to give me their dream.
Wow.
It was just, yeah, bro, it was just everywhere I went, it was there. I remember one New Year's, I was at a New Year's party and I was filming a dream, and then I realized I forgot my phone at home, which was like 40 minutes away, and it was like 10 p.m. at night. And I was like, I can't post the dream without my phone, because I had like that security double thing so no one else could log on their phone to my Instagram. So I had to drive home and leave New Year's just to get my phone so I could post it before midnight.
Wow.
Things like that. But there was no choice in that. It was kind of like I had to do that or I failed my whole. And the problem is I took it that if I did miss a day, I failed. I would have started from day one again. Like I was that extreme in it. And that was dangerous. That I would have seen myself as a failure if I'd missed, if I'd posted at 12:10, I would have gone, I failed the mission. I'm a lie. I've lied to everyone. I did.
Wow.
That was bad. And my wife now really helped me to see that when I was coming to that end of that 5 years. It was dangerous, man. Just, the pressure I put on myself. And then the perfectionism. I would spend like an hour on a thumbnail because I was such a perfectionist. It was painful. It got to the point where it was physically painful editing because I was perfecting every last thing. And I think the fun just went out of it, man. Yeah. But then in saying that, there were so many more joyous moments, man, where you're just like, and there were times where I was on my laptop editing and everyone's sitting around chatting. And it was just nice having that, just talking there were lots of moments where it was an absolute joy, bro.
Well, also, just like with being a podcaster, you are not just a creator, you're a producer, you're this wrangler, right? The amount of wrangling you've been,
you got to
like professional wrangling. Like I just saw Aston Kutcher on your thing and I'm like, bro, how do you pull that off? And even he said in this thing, I get tons of this stuff. And I said yes to you. And have you been, I guess like I sit here in the podcast studio with Guy and it's partly because of like, we just wrangle things, Have you thought that that's the kind of deadliest skill set you have, is being able to like convince people via these electronic keys to give their time?
Yeah, man. I think I'm starting to realize that maybe there is a bit of a gifting there. It's really it's probably more now the last couple of months, more than the 5 year every day. Like for instance, Ashton Kutcher, that was just a cold email, just a full cold email.
Yeah.
I've sent between 25 and 30,000 cold emails since starting this. And not one of those was a pain. I actually love cold email.
You write them originally every time? Have you?
No, I've got a pitch that's really changed over time, but I cater it to each person. Obviously, I don't rewrite the whole. That would be so much. But I think the thing is, and a lot of people go like, "How do you get in touch with people? Like, what's the?" The secret is I have a mission I'm so passionate about that there are people I've emailed that afterwards I've gone, I probably shouldn't have emailed that person because it's probably not like I'll tell you off here some people that I've emailed and I've got, but I'm just so like, it's just this confidence of like, I believe in my mission. I'm so passionate about this that I'm not nervous anymore of rejection or kind of intruding in someone's space. Like I'm just so like, I want you to be a part of this mission. And I think that's what people sense as well.
Yeah. So that same thing that was kind of in some ways working against you works for you in other ways, doesn't it? Because they feel that. And I can somewhat identify with that, I think people often say to me, man, you love podcasting. I'm like, yeah. I don't know what exactly it is. I think maybe there's a vanity part of it if we're all honest. But I have come to feel that in our modern world, we're just really lacking connection. There's hardly any opportunities for me and you to sit and talk for like an hour outside of these realms. Yeah. And I think that's a worry. I think that wasn't the way it was. In fact, I think dreams are built through conversations.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I just think that that's a lot of the work we do is around trying to provide those spaces where people can chat. And I think imagination sparks because of it. Healing takes place, and Hey, on that day where it clicked over 12 and there was no dream posted, do you remember that day?
Oh, when I stopped for the first time?
Yeah.
I remember I was terrified to announce that I was ending. Firstly, I was terrified that I was going to make a big song and dance about this and no one was going to care. And everyone would be like, cool, bro, no one cares. And I'd be like, oh, I made this big, like, I'm ending. So firstly, I was scared about that. And second, I was terrified of the regret I was going to feel for the rest of my life. And I watched this doco on Netflix the day I quit about a guy that climbed like 7 peaks. I think it's called 7 Peaks or something. And I watched that and he climbed all the 7 peaks in the Himalayas in like a couple of months or something. It was like crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would have been like that if I'd done 10,000 days, but I quit. So I'm like, I climbed a quarter up Everest and then quit. I'm that guy. And I was so disappointed in myself. And there was probably like a week of mourning where I was, it was actually weird, man. Like in hindsight, I can see it. I didn't know how to talk to people. Yeah. Maybe for the first 3-4 months after, I like socially really lost my confidence, bro. I don't know how to communicate with people. I'm like, whoa, usually I'm always talking about their dreams or they're asking me about 10,000 dreams. So I'm trying to film their dream. I didn't know how to interact with people, man. I think that was the result of burning out. I just lost my confidence in myself. I didn't have and a part of the reason was I was producing a documentary full time too. So I had that. So it's not like I had nothing to go into. But I just, my passion was gone. Like I kind of let go of the thing that I loved. And it was just really weird, man. I just kind of lost who Fraser was. It was like an identity crisis. Yeah. I was the 10,000 Dreams guy. And now I'm like, wait, who am I now? Am I just the guy doing this documentary? Am I just, who am I? But yeah, bro, there was a lot of regret for probably the first week, I would say. Yeah. And then it became nice. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to film. Like, it was like such a treat not bringing my camera.
That's cool.
And I was adamant I was never going to do this again. Then it got to that point. It took a year and 4 months to pick it up again. But up until I picked it up again, I was dead set. This is never going to be me again. That was in the past. Good job, 5 years, awesome, pound the bat. Somehow it snuck back in, bro, and somehow we're back in it.
And so, what's your frequency now? Are you hitting that daily again?
I kind of am. Like the thing is, I'm pretty much doing a dream every day, but I don't have to.
Yeah.
And
can you, like today, for example, can you not do it?
Absolutely. I mean, I'd love to film your guys' dreams, but I can stock up and then I can go, but I won't edit them for a week. Yeah. Like it's the thing and I am like, maybe like a month ago, I didn't do anything for a week, didn't film, didn't edit any of the dreams for a week. And it was just, it's just that mindset of I don't have to do it has just freed me up to enjoy it.
It's funny, because when you talk, there's a part of me which wants to sit here and just say, it's kind of expected maybe of you to be really tough on yourself. But I think there's a part which you should be quite forgiving. Like, you referenced the kind of half climbed the hill. Yeah, but maybe you didn't climb to that part where you fall off, because there's docos about that too. You know, the idiot who couldn't give it up,
who then ended up
the dickhead who played with the gorillas until with the bears.
Or like Jordan Belfort, where he didn't walk away when he should have walked away.
And so you may have had a really deep part of you protecting you, saving you, and that what you call mourning might have been healing. You know, might have taken you a year. So
that's a great way of looking at it, man.
Well,
I haven't actually looked at it that way.
It's an optimism podcast, bro.
No,
but man. You know, like when the chips are down,
it's like therapy session.
we've got to think about that stuff, and I think it's cool now. You have a razor sharp skill set, getting influential people to do stuff for a good cause, because dreaming is a good cause. I just find it hilarious that you had a nightmare last night. Because
we can totally cut that nightmare part.
No way,
that was pretty dark, but that's
awesome.
Literally the dream I had last night.
I think to have a hopeful outlook, you have to know that the boogeyman's out there, you know?
So crack up. I never have horror dreams, so that was like awesome. The one time I've had a horror dream.
That's awesome. No, I heard it said one time from a fellow I don't know well, but he said peace is actually being able to sit calmly when you know there's terrible shit going on around you. And I'm like, that's actually, I think that's more realistic, you know? Knowing the realistic things that happen and then pushing those boundaries. And I think, you know, I don't know, man, like you film guys, and I look at Guy and I look at you, you're a weird breed. It's like you get sucked in, and no matter how much I see other elements of that grind in other areas of life be useful, it's not going to be enough till you grind your way to that Oscar stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is. I think it's like a sickness, because you're attached at your molecular level to these, it's that Spielberg, Indiana Jones, stuff like that. But it is your trauma and you have to deal with it. So, peace be with you. So what's next, man? Like, what are you doing now? And, what's work for you? Was the dreams ever work? Was that able to sustain you in any way over that 5-year period? Do you think you would have carried on if it was like, here's a bucket of money and you can fly anywhere in the world and do whatever you want? Was there a fiscal reality to the anxiety?
I've gone through many periods where there's been times where I've tried to go, how do I make money off this thing? And probably then very quickly realized that I was selling out on the get companies to pay for dreams.
This dream brought to you by Coke.
Yeah. And you kind of get to the point you're like, that would just kill the whole thing. It would not feel authentic anymore if it's sold out to the point of, BNZ are funding it now, or, But then I've gone through periods where I've been like, no, this is only going to be giving back. I'm never going to accept a cent from this thing. This is just. So I've gone through like I'm in a place now where I'm still pursuing my film dream. And what am I up to now? I'm coming to the end of 2.5 years on a documentary, which is actually, I'll tell you, it's a cool story because it ties to 10,000 Dreams. So it's a doc on the Wiggles. And I guessed the email of their social media manager in 2019 because I saw that they were coming to Auckland. Somehow got in with them and they said yes to doing it. Met them, filmed their dreams, got on really well with them. I then went to San Francisco a couple of months later to do a filming thing with Jake Miller, and the Wiggles happened to be doing a show the same day I was there in San Francisco. So I hit them up, went and hung out backstage, became friends with them, helped one of them propose a few months later in Sydney, ended up filming their dreams at an OG reunion show where Greg Page had a cardiac arrest on stage, and it was a bushfire relief show. Just formed this friendship with the Wiggles. That always kind of buzzed me out because I'm the Wiggles generation through and through. And I got to a point at the start of 2021 where, man, I directed a feature film when I was 20 that came out 2015. And I was trying to get.
What was that one?
It was called Sirenia. It was a low budget one. It was a film I was convinced would win Oscars and didn't do anything and hit me into a bit of a rock bottom period at 21. But that's a different story. Thank goodness now in hindsight. Anyway, I'd been trying to get my second feature off the ground for years. Nothing was working. And I got to a point in 2021 where I just hit another wall of, oh my gosh, is this thing actually going to happen? I'm 27 now, and I thought I'd be a lot further ahead at this point. And the one thing I had in my life was 10,000 Dreams. And you brought up the faith part before. I am a Christian, and there's a bigger story to this, but I made a literal contract with God, and I've still got it. And my best mate signed it as a witness. It's a legit contract. And I said, I'm all in. I'm done chasing my dreams. I just want to pursue your dreams for my life. I'm done trying. I'm giving it over to you. A month later, I get an email from the CEO of the Wiggles saying, can you come down to Christchurch on Sunday and do a music video with Richie McCaw and the Wiggles? Wow. And I said no, because I don't really work on Sunday, And I said no. And I called my mum, told her, and she was like, bro, come on. No, go.
Did you think she would say goodbye?
I wanted validation. Yeah. She didn't give me it at all. And
she's like, stop being
so I called back. I'll do it. So I go to Christchurch that Sunday, and I spend the day with the Wiggles and Richie McCaw shooting just a music video. Then I was shooting backstage, and then I did Richie McCaw's dream, which was weird because I'd been turned down like 5 times by his team over like 4 years. So it was funny how it worked out that way.
I'll just put a pin in the Richie story. I've got a Richie story where he turned me down. But carry on.
Can't wait to do that. And so I was editing this the next day, this all video with my editor, and we were watching it, and it was super grungy and edgy. And I'm like, bro, it looks like a trailer for a Wiggles documentary. And I was like, I wonder if there's ever been a Wiggles documentary. So we Googled Wiggles documentary. There'd never been a Wiggles documentary. I'm like, so I WhatsApp message a producer friend of mine called Dan Story. And I was like, Dan, what do you think of a Wiggles documentary? And he was like, I love it. Do you think they'd do it? I went, I don't know. Let me email Anthony. So I sent Anthony, who's the main Wiggle and founded it. I sent him an email and went, bro, can I make a documentary on you guys? And he got back to me on my 27th birthday, March the 24th. And he was like, you know, something we've looked at over years and we've tried, and many people have tried to do it, but we've never found the right person. But if you do it, we'll make it happen. And that's all he emailed me on my birthday. And I was just like, and then they were in Auckland 2 or 3 days later, and we had lunch with them, and there we go, off on a documentary. And then got bought by Amazon last year, and it's released this year, and it's absolutely blew my mind, man.
So it's out?
Nah, it comes out later this year.
Bro.
I've worked on it for 2.5 years. Amazing team in it, involved with it. It was pretty unreal to see, and that all came from 10,000 Dreams. The thing that 4 years, there were people in my life close to me, because it wasn't bringing money in, and I was funding everything. You know, I flew to Wellington to film Bode and Barrett's Dream for 5 minutes and then flew straight home. Like, you know, it was costing me money, this. Yeah. And a lot of people close to me were like, mate, you know, because you're putting so much energy into this, you're kind of dropping the ball in other film areas that could bring money. And I was like, no, it's all going to pay. One day this will pay off. I just know this will work out. And for years, it wasn't really working out on it. And it was kind of like, oh my gosh, man, it's this thing. And then in that moment, it was like, there was a plan, man. The whole thing, you look back, it was just a plan. And it was as soon as I did that contract and I let go and went, I'm not pushing anymore. Just, it happened a month later. And I didn't even really, it wasn't forced. It just somehow, the Wiggles trusted me. It just blew my mind, man.
That's hilarious. I mean, in a hilarious way, yes. Not in a silly way.
Yes.
It's hilarious because the Wiggles trusted you. Yeah. You know, it wasn't Richie McCaw or, you know, the people we put our trust in. It was the Wiggles. And I think that's perfect.
So privileged, man.
Bro,
I'm so blessed that, like, it absolutely pinched myself on that, man.
I'm pumped for you. And actually, I'm sitting here at the other side of the table thinking, nah, man, fly to get Bodie's story, because that is an investment.
Yes. Oh, and that was great, man.
You know,
like, in no way do I regret. That was awesome.
And I guess maybe just around that contract, because, you know, like, there's some tension everyone feels with faith and belief. And even I have that. The best I've done to my current life is, like, I'm spiritual, but I don't know what that really means.
Yeah.
I'll be open to, you know, some energy, but I don't know if I can truly believe in something. But I'm cool if someone else does. I guess my thing is, like, man, what's the lesson for young people out there watching? And they're like, oh, I just got to give it all up, you know? and I guess, like, do you have any kind of thoughts there? Or is it just that you've just got to let it play out, listen to people, listen to yourself, try your best, and the wins will come out of falling over and trying to get back up? You know, like, what do you really put it down to, like, a bigger plan guiding you? Because, like, if you were really stuck on that, you wouldn't have gone to Wellington, and your mum was like, "Oi."
Yeah,
you know. So there's a little bit about, like, not giving it all over to one thing and saying, maybe it's a mixture. I like to think it's a mixture. I'll meet you halfway.
Yeah,
you know?
Man. It's a good question, bro. I think when I look back on my life, and I know it's very catered to me. I've been a Christian since the day I was born, so it's very catered, but I really believe God's dreams are bigger than your dreams. Yeah. If I am to look at my life, that's the thing I take away from it. Another one I'd look at is, I think it's all about doing the small things. Did a dream every single day. That was just the small thing. Did that bless someone? It wasn't really about me. Yes, there were periods where it became about me, but if we look at it broadly, it was not about me. It was about helping people dream. It was doing the small things that led to the big thing. That's why the Wiggles trusted me, because I did 10,000 dreams. Yeah. Not because I made Sirenia when I was 21. But I pray they haven't watched Sirenia. So I think if there was...
everyone's going to be like, where's the link? Is it out there?
It's on YouTube, but man, I really...
Link in the bio.
Do not watch.
Guy Pigden's going to be watching it.
Do not watch it,
He'll have some notes for you.
I think if there's any encouragement to a young person, it's do the small things well, man. Just bless people, serve, go. Like, people say put good energy out there, man. Just encourage people. Don't make it about yourself.
Yeah.
Like when you help people help you. It comes back. People help you,
And it must be a fine line, because you must have been able to reflect some of your 5-year journey as like, oh, I am helping. I'm amplifying. But it maybe became a little bit, I got to get the dream. And I think I totally resonate with that. Like I tested it. I sat on that side of the cameras and I watched people talk here, and I'm like, do I still get a buzz? And I was really honest with myself, and it was like, yes.
Yeah.
And that's why Guy and I love it, because it's like, oh, phew. If it was just about me doing the podcast, I want to be a part of it, but that's where I think there's harmony found. And I truly believe in when you say service like that, that's awesome.
That's it.
Or a blessing. Yeah, man.
And don't have a hidden agenda. That's the other thing. I never had I want to film the Wiggle streams so that one day I'll make a doco. There was no hidden agenda, man. Like hand on heart, never in my life did I think there would be a Wiggles doco coming from 10,000 dreams.
Even Google said there was no doco.
Ever in my life. That was just incredible timing, man. And then the fact that as soon as that kind of took off, they had a reunion tour. They kind of blew up again. Rolling Stone magazine, like it kind of timing was just unbelievable. You couldn't have planned that timing. A year earlier, probably wouldn't have happened. A year later, it would have been too late. Someone else would have jumped in. So I just kind of look back and I'm just like, wow, there was a plan,
Exciting.
But I want to hear your Richie McCaw story before we forget
why don't we make
that?
Why don't we make that my dream when you record me? Because I'm going to need your help.
You want Richie McCaw?
It might be a different documentary. I'll pitch you in my dream to you.
Is he your dream guest?
No. It's a different dream.
Who is your dream guest on this?
For a couple of years, it was Jordan Peterson until everyone didn't like him anymore. So I proudly say I like Jordan Peterson before he kind of went all modern day.
Oh, he'd be
He's too broken. It's too broken. Anyway, that'll be its own clip. I would really like to interview Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I think he wouldn't be actually a very interesting guest, I still like, he's my version of your film stuff.
Yeah.
That amount of just patience with having
Is he your hero looking at
just to make a lot of money doing something that's fun. Yeah. And I've been lucky. I've met some mentors in my last couple of years, and they've given me these tools and tactics that have allowed me to take bigger steps, So, but yeah, be Joe Rogan. I think I'd like to interview someone like Royal. I think it would be fun to see if I could crack them a bit, like maybe one of the talents I think I have is I give people the permission that they can talk.
Yeah.
And I joked to Guy off camera that my head's like this because I'm trying to do a trick to you. Not a trick. It is a trick, actually. A manipulative trick, which is like, you're safe.
Yeah.
I hear you. Because I truly do, but I realize humans are guarded, I'd like to try and have a crack at uncracking people
Someone
who
that's
don't,
like,
and I don't know if that's useful or not. I think it's useful. I think it's a lie to sit on camera and talk through the camera and no one knows you're reading words. I think that's not cool. I think that doesn't give people proper grounding in life.
Yeah.
They think you need to sit there and do it all to camera. I watched an advert last night and I'm like, I don't think I'll ever push to create a piece of advertising which is scripted. It can be planned, but isn't isn't that just ridiculous? Maybe it's just me, but I think like that sucks. There's so many advantages to writing out an awesome, and you can put it through these different algorithms and chuck it through AI, and all of a sudden it pops out this perfect thing, and people learn the lines and they say it. And I think that's different to films, by the way. But in our current media industry, I'm really disappointed. I think it sucks that I have to do this. That should be John Campbell having these deepest chats with you, or whoever else we've trusted with 30 years of experience. Don't get the dude taking the hair pill tablets, trying to grapple with weight, but if they don't want it, F them, I'll do it.
You're good at it, man.
Well, that's us, man.
You're calming, bro.
We're good, and I don't personally see your story probably through the lens. I find it very hopeful and optimistic, and I love that you had a trip, and now you're up, and you're like, let's carry on, let's take the lessons.
I'm glad too, man.
Yeah.
It's a way, when you look, it's a way better story now, and
Absolutely.
Reflection, and the only way I could have stopped and had perspective on what I was doing was to stop. There's no way in that 27 years every day I had any perspective on what I was doing.
Well, and it's like a hell of a cost, but your pal Jake, in some ways, made sure you were right, because that story led you to get knocked out of that matrix. And that would be my lesson, like be very careful what you pin your hope to. Yeah. And that we're all susceptible to that. And that, maybe don't pin your hope to like a dare with a friend. Pin your hope to something that you can't stop thinking about. But I don't know, it's complicated. And anyway, I find your story hopeful. Where's best place for people to follow your story? And when the Wiggles stuff comes out, dude, come back, do another podcast. Let's talk about the Wiggles. Maybe you can bring a wiggle. Bring a wiggle. Where can people follow you?
Instagram is probably the best place, man. Yeah, I've got a website being developed right now, so that will hopefully be the home kind of place, but Instagram, I'd say.
Cool, Fraser. Thank you, brother.
Well,
appreciate your time.
Bro.
Awesome.
This episode of A Beacon of Hope is proudly brought to you by Campfire Studios. Campfire Studios is an impact-led organisation amplifying the voices of Māori and Pasifika communities via podcasting and video content. To find out more, visit campfirestudios.co.nz. 2, 3, 4. Thank you for tuning in to this frequency of hope in our podcast today. If you found value from this episode and want to hear more, I would love it if you could follow, subscribe, and rate our show. By doing so, you will increase the frequency of the Beacon of Hope. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other platform, please take a moment to hit the follow or subscribe button and leave a rating and review. I truly appreciate your support and feedback, and it helps us make our podcast even better. Thank you.
Be good. Be safe. And be happy. Sounds like that song, doesn't it? Be happy.
All right, Mama, we'll stop there, right?
Yeah, okay. All right.